Alabama uses a scorching second half to take down the Ole Miss Rebels.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama. HSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by Indeed, and we'll talk about Indeed in just a little bit. This is a basketball-only episode. It's live, reaction show, and we will talk about Alabama's new tight end coach, Tamari. So we will talk about that. We're going to go earlier than normal tomorrow, so we will bring that up. But as it stands, we want to talk about Alabama on the basketball front because, my goodness, they put up 61 points in the second half, winning 93-74. Latrell Wrightsell just got unconscious there for a bit. And it really demoralized Ole Miss, I thought. For a while there, Alabama was like 2 of 17, 2 of 18 maybe from beyond the arc, and they just couldn't get anything. The looks were there. The shots just weren't dropping. And it's really hard to tell if a shot is going to be good or not from that wonky camera angle they have for Ole Miss. By the way, could somebody pay the light bill in that arena? Because it's dark, it's dank.
It's like a Batman movie.
He's playing basketball in the Batcave. So anyway, big win for Alabama. Had to have this one, if you ask me. I stopped short of saying you had to have this one, but with these 5 games coming up, you certainly didn't want to drop the first one. I mean, this is not Murderer's Row. Ole Miss tonight, South Kakalaki Saturday at home, Arkansas at home, who is very good. That'll be the toughest one of this stretch. Then at LSU, and then Mississippi State at home. So, yeah, I mean, this was a win they needed to get, and they went and got it on the road in the SEC. It's a big deal.
Any road win is a big deal, even though it felt as you watched it, it was not a big deal. Partly due to Ole Miss not being great, partly due to the production value of the game not being great. It didn't feel like a big game at any point watching it, but it was a big game in the sense that stealing a road win is big. And I'm not saying stealing in the sense that Ole Miss is really good. It's just hard to win road games. Now imagine winning road games when you don't play your best. I don't think, particularly in the first half, that was Alabama's best. But the second half, that was pretty nice. I mean, you're on a 120-point pace there on the road in an SEC game. Latrell Wrightsell just completely went off. I'm still waiting for the game that Philon, Wrightsell, and Holloway are all great. It still hasn't happened. My hope, Luke, as crazy as this sounds, it's a wish cast. It's not a prediction. This is a wish cast that Alabama makes its way to the NCAA tournament. They win a first-round game they're supposed to win. They get to the second or third round against somebody really, really good, and they're probably an underdog. And it's the game that we've been waiting to happen where Philon, Wrightsell, and Holloway are all great. And you knock down a giant. I hope it's going to happen. But that said, nice win by Alabama. It's on the road, and gosh, turn on some lights over there in Oxford or ESPN or however that works.
Really weird minute distribution tonight. Jaleel Bethea goes out there, and he plays a lot. Oh, well, I say plays a lot. I think he played 3 minutes in the first half, and I was like, wow, okay, he's going to get some run. And they didn't play again till 2 minutes to go in the game. Noah Williamson, 5 minutes, zeros across the board, except he did work in a foul and did get a steal.
How many minutes did Aiden Sherrill play?
Aiden Sherrill played 25, and that's where I was going to go.
So 25 plus Noah's 5, right?
Yeah, I love that.
So you played 10 minutes without a true center on the floor.
And I love that because it didn't, Aiden Sherrill, he needs a little bit of, let's make sure he's staying healthy and good and ready to rock. I don't want him playing 35 minutes at Ole Miss. If he's playing 35 minutes at Ole Miss, I think that's going to be a problem. But he ended up with 15 big points. Man, his blocks, he only had 2 of them, but they were big, I thought. I mean, some swats. He had 6 rebounds. It felt like he had more rebounds than that. But I thought he did well. London Jemison hit a 3. Well, at least I thought that was him that hit the 3 late. They're not showing it on the box score, so I guess it wasn't him that hit it. Aiden Holloway got, had a sort of mini run where he hits a moonraker, a teardrop, and then he hits a big 3 right after that. LeBaron Philon magically ends up with 18 points. I didn't think he was going to get close to that. But again, when you put 61 up in the second half, there's going to be some folks that have scored. But the story, of course, is Wrightsell, who was 7 of 14 from beyond, or 7 of 13 from beyond the arc, and he tried one other 2-point shot.
Wrightsell in the second half was just great, and in the first half he wasn't good at all. The whole first half was bad, frankly. They couldn't look. Nate Oates' offense is shoot threes. That doesn't work. Attack the basket. Neither one of those things was working well throughout just about the entire first half. But defensively, they hung in there. I think that's what Nate preaches. The shots aren't always going to fall, but what you can control is your defensive effort. I think Alabama's defense kept them in the game in the first half when they weren't playing well. Second half, you did play well offensively, and that's why you win by, handily. But the defensive effort in the first half is why Alabama had the opportunity to win the game easily in the second half.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And the 3-pointers really put pressure on Ole Miss. I mean, they did a good job against us on the 3-point line. I hate to even say they did a good job against it. I think our shot just wasn't falling. But It seemed like also when they're in man-to-man, I would have felt like, hey, we can get some screens and start popping off here. Give the coaching staff some credit. They obviously did some things at halftime, made some adjustments that allowed for some more open threes. And give the team credit for not giving up on the game, because it can be very easy at the beginning of the first half, or the entire first half, really, when your shot's not falling, to get down on yourself. And I think that's one thing Nate Oates is great at, is like, I don't care how many you miss. I think you're going to make the next one.
And Philon, I thought he forced some things early. And in the second half, he allowed the game to come to him. I noticed a couple times in the first half, Philon would be doubled. And I think we had a difficult time finding the open guy. But in the second half, a lot more players involved themselves in the offense. Again, I'm a broken record on this, but when Philon, Wrightsell, and Holloway are all difficult to defend, good luck. And I know you need to have an inside presence. You can't just win the national championship with 3, quote, smaller guards. But when all 3 of those guys are playing their best, that's the best backcourt in the country. But Alabama's had a hard time keeping them healthy. Wrightsell showed tonight he's healthy. He's ready to go. We know Philon's pretty healthy. He's had the thigh bruise, but I think he's good. Holloway, I still think, is fighting that wrist to a bit, but give him a game or two. I love this stretch that Alabama's entering to give them an opportunity to stack wins without maybe playing their A-plus game. Mm-hmm. The key for this Alabama team in terms of achieving something great is playing its best basketball at the end. You finally get everyone healthy. You finally get everyone firing on all pistons at the end. This can be a really, really tough team to beat in March. But until then, you're shorthanded. It's not always great because of the bangs and the bruises. You're a little, me and you talked about it, Luke, going all the way back to August, September, October, before the game started. This isn't going to be a great rebounding team. That's going to give us issues at times. This maybe isn't one of Nate's best rosters. Going to give you some issues at times. But if you play your best games at the end, that's all anyone will remember.
Going to talk a little Indeed now. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills and certifications and location. Look, with sponsored jobs, your post gets seen by candidates who are actually a fit, and that is so key. And here's a stat that'll say it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply, because they apply to everything. Hiring, do it the right way. Do it with Indeed. Jimmy Stein guarantee. Okay. Ooh, I got to take that off. I think it's so funny to watch Wrightsell when he makes one. He starts sort of jogging back the way I would jog back 5 years ago at age 48 if I hit a three in like a pickup game on Saturday morning, because it took everything I had to make that three. And then my body's like, all right, we're jogging back on defense. And we're sort of doing that, like that, I'm running, but I'm not running kind of. And so Wrightsell has really an old man shimmy back to the defensive side. Usually when he misses one now, he hustles. But when he makes one, it's like his age catches up with him for a minute.
Makes sense based on the overall health of the team. That story makes perfect sense.
There's no doubt. I'm with you on the guards. Once the guards really get going, it's going to be difficult. I also think Amari Allen got 2 fouls early. I think that hurt him a little bit. I think he was on pace. Honestly, he had 27 minutes, so it's still a lot of minutes. But if he doesn't get those 2 fouls, I wonder if he may not have had a triple-double. He had 8 rebounds and 6 assists to go along with 13 points. The guy is just all over the place. Unfortunately and fortunately, I've seen his name associated with the first round of the NBA draft a lot recently. So I think it's going to be very difficult to assume he's going to come back next year. But if he goes to the NBA, more power to him, and it's another selling point for Alabama.
I think Amari, just one cautionary point for him. I get it. And hey, if you're going in the first round, go. We'll be so happy for you. We'll be rooting for you as you pick out your suit, in that first round and shake hands with Adam Silver. That'd be awesome. But be really sure, because I think Alabama's had a couple of guys go pro early. I don't know. How about this name? Charles Bediako. Mm-hmm. How about another name? Even Josh Primo, Kyra Lewis. When you tell me, like, Jimmy, don't criticize that. They went in the first round. They weren't ready to be pro basketball players. They weren't ready to be NBA basketball players for different reasons. Maybe. Only enter the draft when you're ready to be an NBA basketball player. It doesn't matter that they say if you enter, you'll go 10th. Well, sure, that means your first check is going to be fantastic. But isn't everyone's goal to have a career and not one big fat check? And that's what I would just say to Amari. And I'm not saying he's not ready. Be sure you're ready to be an NBA basketball player, because Kyra got drafted early. J.D. Davison got drafted early. It just hasn't worked out for all those guys. You know who got drafted and it really worked out for him? Herb Jones. He didn't go top 10. I don't even think he went first round. But Herb Jones was ready. And not, of course, he's a senior. He had no choice. It was then or never, right? But Herb was ready. And look at the career he's had. Brandon Miller was ready. Brandon Miller, Noah Clowney was to some extent ready. I do believe Noah Clowney might have been better served by staying one more year, but nevertheless, Noah Clowney was ready. Brandon Miller was ready to be a pro.
Brandon Miller also, even if you want to say he went, even if you want to say he went as a freshman, he was 20 years old.
He was 20 years old.
Yeah,
he was ready. And gosh, J.D. Davison, And I know his people right now are listening going, hey, you dumbass, he's made $5 million or whatever he's made. I just wonder what J.D. Davidson's career would look like to date if he'd stayed 3 years at Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Oh, man, I would have loved to have had him stick around and develop here on campus. But, maybe something really good will happen with Amari Allen. But for now, I'm looking at the future. Of course, Alabama plays South Carolina at home on Saturday. This is not a good South Carolina team. This is a must win. This is one of those games where, Jimmy, if you're talking about all the guards playing really well, I hope they all don't play really well in this game, because I know they're going to play somewhere really well. I just don't want it to be Saturday.
Couldn't agree more. This is the Gene Stallings game. This is the Gene Stallings. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you don't think this is a big game, try losing it.
I used that exact line today on Doug Amos's show. That's exactly what I said.
We should have a show together, me and you.
We should. Let's look into that. When we get done with this podcast, I'm texting you. But yeah, I don't want to have.
That's what it is about games like the South Carolina game. People are going to take it for granted. If the basketball team, South Carolina is full of SEC basketball players. If you don't think you can lose this game, try playing poorly. And hey, Alabama's women's team lost a game they shouldn't have. It really hurt them. You've got to win Saturday night. I know it's not a great opponent. You don't have to play your best game of the year, but you better win the game, or a lot of your goals become much harder to reach.
Let me tell you one other thing about this game that stands out. Only 6 turnovers. Now,
nice.
We had, 9 turnovers in the first 10 minutes against Auburn. So kudos to, taking care of that. Now, I mean, it was sort of you got to get something and give something. We gave up good 3-point shooting in the first half, but somehow we were able to put it together in the second half. And the other thing that has haunted Alabama for quite some time, I mean, years and years, we were 24 of 26 from the stripe today. That is amazing. That is really good basketball. And we keep doing that and keep shooting threes. Again, we're going to have stretches where we can't make one, and everybody's going to be like, man, what are you doing? It's what we do. We're going to continue doing that. So I'm okay. I was okay with them taking all the threes they could, because I knew eventually we have too many good shooters for them to not to drop eventually.
I'm misusing the phrase unintended consequences, but Nate Oates obviously, per his system, recruits 3-point shooters. The unintended consequence of that, you should be a good free throw shooting team. He doesn't recruit a good free throw shooting team. Yeah. That's almost silly. But when you go out of your way to recruit good 3-point shooters, you should be a good 3-point shooting team. And here we are. And I would call it, silly, but an unintended consequence of recruiting great perimeter shooters.
All right, that's going to do it for this live reaction show to Alabama getting a big 19-point win on the road against Ole Miss. Never take those for granted. By the way, it's our 5th straight time to win at Ole Miss, so big deal. That's nice.
Hey, Chris Beard's a heck of Chris Beard's a heck of a basketball coach. They don't have the dudes they need to have, but Chris Beard's a good coach. Therefore, it's a good win.
I totally agree. So let's keep it rolling this weekend. Jimmy and I'll be back in the morning. Please hit that subscribe button. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.